Well, I like making food that tastes good, and I don't even mind making food that tastes bad. But if I had to choose, I think I'd pick the former. So if you want to know how to make it a little bit better, but maybe not quite as good as it maybe could be, I think that you should listen to what I'm talking about. And if you learn a little something from this, well, I hope it served a purpose, and hey, that's what we're here for. Good, better. Nailed it. Woo! Hello, and welcome to the Cook Better podcast. I am Corey, and today I am joined by my brother Nate.
Hello.
And we are going to talk today about, I guess, America's favorite food, the hamburger. And I don't know. I don't have a real great plan as to where we're going to go as far as, I don't know. The hamburger, you just go so many different ways. And I guess to start out, when you think of a hamburger,
yep.
What's the first thing that comes to mind? If you were oh, sorry, my chair is really squeaky. If you're making a burger, or if somebody says, I want you to make me a burger, what would be your go-to style of burger, or just the whole thing, I guess?
Oh boy, that's tough.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean,
yeah, it has to be juicy. It has to have a perfect bun, and depending on your mood, really, has to have the right toppings. So it could go from olive burger, could go Western burger, could go spicy burger, could go anywhere. So it really depends.
I guess for you, mood's a big part of it, and what you're doing.
Yep.
I feel differently if I'm camping, or I don't know.
Oh yeah.
But I guess for me, so if somebody said a burger, to me a burger, I don't like a burger if it doesn't have cheese on it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll eat.
That's a rough
it's not that I won't eat. Yeah, it's not that I won't eat a burger that doesn't have cheese on it. But
right.
That's not going to be, if I'm making it at home, I will run to the store after I've cooked the burger if I realize I don't have cheese, just because I think a burger needs cheese. But, yeah, I don't know. I guess a simple burger to me, I like a simple burger more often than not, because I don't want to have to add 20 different things to a burger in order for it to be good. But it might sound bad, but I do want, if I could figure out how to make a McDonald's double cheeseburger and make it actually taste like that, I probably would make my burgers that way 9 times out of 10.
Right. 100%.
Actually, I think the key to that is just a lot of salt and pepper is what in my experience, if you do enough salt and pepper, you get dangerously close in a real thin patty. But I don't know. I mean,
a simple burger, perfect burger, simple.
Yeah.
One patty. You got cheese, ketchup, mustard, pickle, onions. That is the McDonald's staple. Yeah. So if that's a burger you want, that's how you. Yeah, that's how you get there. Yeah, and I don't know. Everybody has. I think everybody's made a burger, right? And burgers kind of like same with a hot dog. You can make a hot dog, and it's whatever. It's gonna be. You're gonna eat it, even if it's kind of a crappy hot dog. But same with a burger. But I think for myself, so I think there's 2 different categories or 2 different camps with a burger. I guess maybe you could go to 3 if you went with a smash burger. Yep.
That's my personal favorite type. Okay. Or a thicker burger, or I guess the third, if you want to throw it in there, is a stuffed burger.
Yep.
But in my opinion, a stuffed burger is just going through a lot of extra effort for something you could just put on top.
Yes.
Me too. And then half the time, you just don't get enough. Like,
If I cheese like the cheese stuffed burgers, you have to put so much meat in order
To contain
get
it?
around it to contain
Yeah.
it, and then you don't get you really don't get a lot of the filling flavor for what can fit in a burger.
Right.
And if you fill it too full, then your burger's so big that it just I don't know.
No, I
Or maybe
think
I
it's
just never
overrated.
had a real. Yeah, I think it's. I think a lot of the stuffed things are just more gimmicky than practical or even that great. I'd rather take a little extra cheese and put it on top than
Yeah.
fold a burger around it.
You don't
But
throw away as much meat
Yeah.
because it didn't work.
Yeah, and then it oozes out, and you're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this one's junk. It's not
Yeah.
a real stuffed burger." And yeah, so you exactly.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose one burger to have, one type, I guess to have it for the rest of my life, it would be a smash burger.
Yep.
Mainly because, well, there's a lot of reasons why. I really like the crust on that you get on a real thin patty, but also a thick burger. Really, the quality of it, the type of or the cut of the beef, or what your mix is, or your beef mixture is, your ground mixture, will determine if a thick burger is good. If you got garbage, dollar store tube beef,
Yep.
I don't want a thick patty of that, you know. So a smash burger can hide a lot of
Junk.
a lot of quality issues.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't mean it always has to be junk, though.
no.
I mean, you can have a
for
good
sure.
beef smash burger. It's
Right.
just less beef.
Right, and that'll stretch your quality meat
Right.
farther.
Right.
And you can get a lot more burgers. Now, a lot of times with a smash burger, I might end up doubling it up just to get
Oh, yeah.
just because you don't have as much of the beef.
Kind of mandatory, right?
Yeah, double cheeseburger. I don't
Yeah.
even know what kind of weirdo makes a single
At home, at
single
least, for
burger.
sure.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they might be in denial. Like, I only made a single.
Yeah. But so I guess for me, I prefer a smash burger.
Yep.
But
Yeah, I would say I actually do like a good thicker burger more. It might surprise you by that look.
Yeah, right.
I do enjoy a smash burger for sure, but there have been so many good actual like well mixed ground beef burgers that I've had that I would like a quarter-inch, half-inch thick burger over two smash burgers that would equate to the same thing.
sure.
But yeah, it's hard to say what is better. If you have a good combination, good seasoning,
Right.
then the burgers
Right.
are comparable, I
Right.
would say.
I think it. I've had some good burgers. I've had more burgers of the thicker patty at a restaurant that are good,
Yeah.
and I think, like we said, part of that is the quality of the meat that's
Yeah.
going into it. And when I make them at home, there have been times where I've ground my own beef, and if you get a ribeye or like a chunk of ribeye steak, or I've bought. We've bought some cow, and so we got a quarter cow, half cow, whatever. So I'll just take. People think I'm crazy because I'll take the ribeye steaks and I'll shave them into for Philly cheesesteaks,
Right.
or grind up a ribeye or a T-bone or a porterhouse into burger, and that blows people's minds sometimes. But
It's the difference.
yeah, and that's it. I think the best burger. I say I like a smash burger, but I think the best burger I ever had was from a place right up the road where we're at. It was the Blue Wagyu, and they don't have the restaurant there anymore. But they had a Wagyu. They were sliders, so it was a smaller patty, obviously a slider, but it was thick, and there was literally no condiments on that. It was the burger and the bun. There might have been a little bit of cheese, but it didn't need anything.
Right.
And I couldn't imagine a plain burger
Right.
being good, but that was due to the quality of the beef. And the restaurant's owned by a farmer, and they had Wagyu beef. But I guess maybe that's part, and I've been getting a little bit better with temperature, and you do a lot more smoking and stuff where you're paying attention to the internal temperature of meat.
Right.
And that's been something I've slowly been getting better at. So if you have a thick cut of meat, and if you want a medium or whatever burger, it's just there's just a lot less room for error when you do a smash burger.
Right.
So it could be a little bit of laziness too. But I have had really good, like you're saying, a thick, and I think that's really more of a
Preference.
let the meat shine. But or if it's a thicker burger, in my mind, you gotta have a good meat.
Yeah,
you gotta have
for
a
sure.
good mixture of beef or whatever.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, I think there's kind of a big debate on either Worcestershire or
Worcestershire sauce?
Yeah. And salt and pepper or Worcestershire with seasoned salt. I mean, honestly, sometimes I don't even use Worcestershire. I just use salt and pepper.
Yeah, and I think that goes back to the meat quality too, because if you have a good beef, then I try to, with any cut, same with steak, I try to use, like if it's a good steak, you just
Less is
need
better.
salt and pepper. You don't need all the other stuff to hide. But I agree. I like a Worcestershire and like a Lowry seasoned salt, and that was something that we grew up with.
Right.
That's what our dad did, making burgers, and it just adds a good flavor. That Worcestershire had, I don't know, it's anchovy in Worcestershire.
Yeah. Yep.
And there's whatever else it's fermented. It's actually pretty nasty. How people come up with these sauces and
I
stuff.
watched how it's made of that.
Yeah, what kind of sick
You don't want to
person's
watch
like,
it.
"Oh, maybe we just let these dead fish ferment in these barrels." Like, sick people, but yeah, I think I like the salt, pepper, and garlic powder is the third part of that people call the
Trinity.
The Trinity. That's what. Yeah, and you watch YouTube videos and stuff, and that seems to be. I can't believe. I will never buy it. If somebody gives me some, fine. But people have their signature burger blends that you can buy. YouTube people will sell their what is it? It's just pepper, salt, and garlic powder. It's those three things. It's like, I'm not paying extra money for a 3 blend just because you add a little bit more salt or pepper, whatever. But those are the 3 things, and I will put garlic's good with everything. And so you mix that in or put that on. But a lot of times, like you said, salt and pepper is just where you want to be at.
It lets the meat shine.
Yeah, exactly. But Worcestershire sauce, Lowry's, seasoned salt.
Yeah.
That's something in all these you put on after, and just both sides, and it just heavily it gets salty. If you don't like a lot of, if you got sodium issues, you definitely don't want Worcestershire and Lowry.
Heart disease.
No kidding. Blood pressure through the roof. But anyway, so I think a lot of people, I don't know, I'd be surprised. Most people, that's a common combination, at least putting the Worcestershire sauce on it.
Frozen butter. Mix that into your beef.
Oh, in with the whole mixture, so it kind of melts.
It melts and makes it juicier. That
seems like something that would work well, like on a grill. Like on a grill, as opposed to a griddle.
Yeah, a griddle.
And that's for a thicker burger.
You can just do it on.
Right, because a griddle, it cooks through.
Yeah.
And that's a... butter.
That's really good. I mean, if you don't mind the calories, it's delicious.
And you do the same thing if you're baking and you're making a croissant or whatever. You have the layers and you got butter in there, and then the idea is when it melts, it also it not only flavors it with the butter, but it leaves air pockets that are going to make it feel more tender when you bite into it, because now it's not just solid piece of beef. You got these holes that you're biting into. And so no, I think that's that's a good thing. One of the other things that I've done, and it came from I was looking for like a White Castle burger, because White Castle's, it's another smash burger. It's got a lot of onion flavor. And I was looking for a White Castle recipe, and I came across this recipe on Pinterest, and I don't understand why it was under the category of White Castle burger, because I think White Castle is just a square patty. So they can fit on the griddle, and then they take their straw or their whatever, and they poke holes in their burger patty, and then they have very thinly sliced, like on a mandolin onion, and it's just whatever, and salt and pepper.
Yep.
But this recipe, while it may have been nowhere near accurate for White Castle, has been a really good one, and it's been something that I've made quite a few times. My kids like it, and when they have friends over, they always ask me to make this burger because they want their friends to guess what's in it, and that's I just call it a peanut butter burger. Now, when you think of a peanut butter burger, usually my mind goes to more like your full stacked breakfast, like I've had at bars and restaurants where they put peanut butter and they'll put an egg on top, and then sometimes they'll throw jelly in there too. And
breakfast burger.
Yeah, like a breakfast burger, basically. Yep. But this one is your burger meat and your beef, and then so you take. I guess it will just say if you were to take a pound. I don't know. I care about measurements because I don't measure anything. Right. So that's where the measurement ends. Yep. A pound of burger, but. You take your burger, and I just take like a soup spoon and stick it into a jar of peanut butter and a big scoop of peanut butter. Throw that in with the meat in a bowl. Take your milk jug and do a splash of like a 1, 2, 3 pour of milk. If you're a bar,
you put milk in it?
Yeah, milk. Yep, really? Milk. Whole milk. Well, that's what I usually buy. So it's usually whole milk for me, but I'm sure any milk will work. So you have peanut butter, you have milk, and like a 2-second pour or whatever, just to make it fairly liquid. But that peanut butter is pretty thick, so it's going to get pasty. So that kind of helps it stay just a little bit more
Binds
liquid.
It.
Yeah, it kind of holds it together. And I think the milk kind of tenderizes. If you made a venison burger, the milk will help to kind of get rid of, if you have a little gamey flavor, soaking venison in milk. But anyway, this beef. So you have your peanut butter, you have your milk, and then you take a package of the dry onion soup mix, which you can get at any grocery store. It's over by all the seasonings, and it's onion soup mix. I don't, obviously it's a soup mix, but I've never actually used onion soup mix for a soup. I've only ever put it in burgers. But it's a dry package of that, and put, I don't know, half, 3/4, use the full thing. I don't know if you like an extra onion flavor. But then just mix it all up. You're going to want to use your hands to get it all incorporated and make a patty. You could either do a thicker patty or a smash burger will still work with this. But that peanut, and it sounds like you got peanut butter, you got milk, and onion soup mix. Sounds like an odd combination, and it definitely is an odd combination, but
sweet and savory.
Yeah. Well, that's true. And that's what, you need that balance. Contrast of, but it just, in the peanut butter, you can taste it. It's one of those things where when you have one, then you go, somebody's like, yeah, this tastes a little different. And like, you can't pinpoint it. Even I've put a lot of peanut butter in, and then I put just, a little bit in, I guess, but you can just taste it. And then as soon as you tell somebody, yeah, it's peanut butter. Maybe it's an allergy warning thing. Make sure you. Like, I didn't think I was going to have a allergic reaction eating a burger, but anyway, it's just one of those things. Like when you make a chili and somebody puts a little maple syrup or a little bourbon in a chili, and you're like, there's something in there. I can't pinpoint the flavor, and then you tell them, they're like, oh yeah, that's what it is. And it's good, and it's not. Some of the stuff you can do with anything can be a little gimmicky, and then it's like, I'll have one or half of one that tastes like that. Or I love dill pickle pizza. Some people don't, but some people are like, half a slice of dill, that's enough for me. It tastes okay, but I don't want. But with this peanut butter burger, it's been everybody I've made it looks at me like I'm weird when I just take a big old scoop of peanut butter and throw it in a bowl and mix it together and do it until you eat it, and then it's okay, that tastes really good. So that's a meat mix in type of thing that.
So is there any jelly?
I've never tried it with a jelly, but I bet it'd be good though.
I mean,
if you did
there's like a blackberry jelly or just something.
I think, and you'd want to do something a little more on the tart side.
Oh,
I think
tart.
like a blackberry jelly or a raspberry.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, blueberry. I don't know how many people like blueberry jelly, but I think a raspberry or blackberry would be a good pairing with the peanut butter.
I mean, but what else? I mean, what else could you put on it after you put jelly? Because you've got your onions. You got.
I do it. I dress it like I would dress like I would top a normal burger. I'll put raw onion, tomato, lettuce. It's not like bacon if you put bacon or whatever. But it's good. It's the peanut butter flavor is there, but it's subtle enough where it's not like, I need an egg on top of it and a jelly. But I've never tried it with jelly, to be honest, and it would be good.
But if you tried it and made it with things that you're gonna make like a poppy seed dressing salad with, if you incorporated like your lettuce and what else goes? Carrots
with a poppy seed dressing.
Yeah, this is a sweet dressing. That's why I was thinking of it, just because of the jelly.
Well, you got, right.
I mean,
if you did,
I just done
it with everything. Yeah, I know. Anything that you would normally with this particular recipe anyway, I'd just top it like you would a regular burger and pretend that it's no different.
Oh. If just a sweeter burger.
Yeah, it's just got a little. Okay. It doesn't make it as sweet as you would think it, and maybe that's partially because of that onion soup mix.
Yeah,
but it's something that, if you wanted to normally would put barbecue sauce and make it into a cowboy burger or whatever, you know, that kind of thing. It would still be. It wouldn't taste weird.
Yeah.
So whoever thought it was, like I said, whoever thought it was like a White Castle burger, I don't know, but
I don't think they're that innovative.
It'll work with whatever toppings you have. Yeah. So other than that, that's like the only thing I actually mix in the burger. Otherwise, I will, I like I said, I like to do smash burgers. So I'm doing that on my Blackstone griddle, or anybody can do it on a griddle or cast iron pan. I like. Well, one of the reasons I like the smash burgers, I like that it cooks in its own juices and the own fat as it renders out. It's still and they cook fast. And I like the little maybe I don't smash them as much as some. Like I don't spread it way wide on the side to get that lace and get that crust necessarily the whole way. I just want a thin patty.
Yeah.
But.
The problem I have with smash burgers is that you can't get the char. I like a good grilled char,
like a gas, or a wood
charcoal, anything. Yeah,
like a more of a. And there is a flavor difference.
There is
because you can get browning and you can get a crust on a smash burger.
Yes, but it's different.
It's not a char, like you're saying. And that is true, and you can taste the difference.
Big difference
in charcoal and gas, and
that's why I think people are on one side or the other.
Yeah,
or both sides. It just depends on what they want.
There is a different. I remember the one time it was on Facebook, and I hate Facebook, and this is why people get in arguments about stupid stuff. But somebody was, their grill had died, or the grill died.
Yep.
And they wanted to get a new grill, and they were thinking, and they just said my grill died, griddle or Blackstone or no. And I had messaged and said, I love my Blackstone. My grill died. I replaced my grill, my gas grill, with a Blackstone. I've loved it, and it's really versatile. You cook everything on it, blah blah blah. And then somebody else responded to my comment, "Is that's not real grilling if you're doing it on black?" I'm like, yeah, I know, I get it, but everything has its. Yeah, you're right. It's not a grill; it's a griddle, and it's not a smoker. A grill is not a smoker. You get a designated smoker or whatever, and but everything has a little bit different application or a different flavor, depending on what you use with charcoal or gas or
Yeah.
whatever. But yeah, I do agree on that. You do get more of a char, and there's something.
It's more of a dry char. I mean,
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, because it's
That's
getting
true.
heated off.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's not sitting
It's
in
not
that
sitting in its
fat.
juices.
Yeah, exactly.
But
But
yeah, there's a difference. But
yeah, and if that's the flavor
your
you
own.
want, yeah, and if that's the flavor you want, then that's the method you do to make your burger.
Right.
And that's the whole thing. Is we're not talking about hamburgers to say that one's better than the other, because there are so many different ways to do it that are good.
Yep.
And just
Yeah.
whatever you're in the mood for. I love the flavor of like a charcoal grilled steak or something like that.
Yeah.
But charcoal takes a long time,
Yeah.
so don't always do charcoal. And I don't have a smoker yet. Knock on wood. I would hopefully soon I'll have one, but I've been saying that for like 3 years, and that takes even longer. But the flavor, the end flavor, and it just depends on what you do. So
Yeah.
but as
Yeah.
far as mixing things in with the meat, other than the meat itself, maybe a specific blend that you want to do, but even if you just buy it from the store and you
Yeah.
just mix it in, salt, pepper, garlic powder, that's usually something I put on top. I don't really mix in with it. And same with the Worcestershire sauce and Lowry's. It kind of goes on top after you set it on the grill or the griddle.
Yeah.
The peanut butter, milk, onion soup mix, that's something that gets mixed in prior to putting it on the grill.
Yep.
But I don't really have anything that I'd mix in the meat. I've never done to me it seems like you could do like the whole, kind of like we talked about in the beginning, the whole stuffed option.
Yeah.
And you could do,
Jalapeno.
I was just going to say
Jalapeno is
cheddar.
good to mix in with the meat
You
itself.
can mix it in with the meat.
Yeah.
Because the jalapeno is not gonna melt away.
Yep.
If you did a jalapeno and cheddar, that obviously the cheese would start to melt and probably be gone before you really could eat
Right.
it. But jalapeno would
Kind
be a
of-
good one.
Yeah.
But like we
Onions
said-
I've done too.
Oh, okay.
Um,
yeah. Well,
I mean, if you dice it thin enough,
Right.
it's actually
Small
pretty
chunks.
good. Flavors the meat inside,
that's a good way
not
to
just
get.
the outside.
Okay, parenting pro tip.
Ooh,
Like you're talking,
noise.
because kids will say, I don't eat onion. I don't want to eat onion. At least my kids. I don't want to eat onion. But the flavor of onion, of course, is in so many things that we cook.
Yeah.
And it's like, just eat it. You're going to like it. Just eat it. And so, yeah, mix it in with the burger so it mellows
Yeah.
or it hides it or whatever. Get them used to that onion flavor and then, work it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, whatever. That's not a pro tip. That's just what everybody does to hide
Just do
the
it.
food. Yeah. I'm not making 4 different types of meals so you don't complain.
Right.
Eat it. But yeah, I think that's all I really have for mix-ins. But
Yeah.
so okay, we went through that. We went through maybe there's a 4th type of burger, but we kind of smash in just a big whatever normal size patty. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would consider even all the fast food places are basically all smash burgers. There's not a fast food place that does a thick patty. There's
Not
a
the
lot of
real
restaurants.
ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of restaurants, sit-down
Yeah.
restaurants and bars
Yeah.
that do a thick patty, but no, not really fast food. So if your favorite type of burger is a fast food burger, then you're going to like a smash burger or whatever.
Right.
So we kind of talked it. So I use a griddle now.
Yes.
I like you can't do a smash burger on a grill, or you end up with nothing left because you'll just smash it into the fire source, and you just can't do a
Yep.
smash burger on a grill. But and then we briefly mentioned like smoking burgers. And did you ever smoked
So
burgers?
I have done. So I have a pit boss, and I have tried to smoke a burger before,
Yep.
and it didn't turn out. It just took too long, and I think that it sat at too low of a temperature for too long, and then by the time it got up to heat, it was just like overcooked.
Oh, okay.
If that
Was
makes
it
any
dry?
sense. Yeah, it
Like
was dry. So,
Did it have a smoky flavor at all?
oh yeah,
or-
It did.
So it was really
but
smoky, but
it was
dry.
really smoky, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
tough.
You don't want a dry burger.
No, nobody does.
No.
But with my smoker, I have a latch that I can pull, so all the heat that's coming up, the radiant heat, actually can just come up like a grill.
Oh,
And I will sear it on that. I'll let that get up to as high as my grill can get, and I'll just sear it on that for like 1 or 2 minutes, close it, and then smoke it.
is that using the wood pellets then
Yep.
to
Yeah.
for the flame for the hot for
Yeah,
searing?
it is direct hot.
Right, but
It
it's
is.
burning the wood. There's no
Yeah.
gas or
Nope,
anything,
no
so
gas.
it's all wood
Yep.
burning to.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a guy that I work with that has. That's what he does. He smokes like whatever. He eats a lot of red meat, but he
Mhm.
smokes 4 burgers on Sunday or whatever it is, and then he'll eat those
Yeah.
during the week. And I've never had one. He's never offered me one. I'd like to try it.
Get with it,
'cause-
Jason.
Yeah, come on. And but in theory, it sounds good, like a smoked burger. I wonder if there's a lot of those kitchen gadgets. And I have more kitchen crap than I should, but there's those smokers I've used. My buddy's got one for making like a smoked old fashioned. You do? For like making a smoked
Like
old fashioned. So it's
smoked
got the
cheese with it,
torch
too.
or smoked cheese with it. I
That's
wonder if you
actually
were
good.
to like cook a burger the way you normally would, and then right before you serve it, you just like dome it or somehow, and then just blast it with some smoke as like a finishing flavor.
I mean, it might work, but
Maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it'd be a lot of hassle for not
but the
much
problem
payoff.
with smoked burgers is burgers you put so much on them. I
Yeah.
mean, you're just gonna
hide it.
Who cares what it tastes like unless you're having
Right.
a bun and a burger?
Right. If it's a
If it doesn't have
Right.
the smoke flavor,
right.
nobody's missing it.
Yeah, if you're not on the high end.
That's why nobody does it.
Yeah, that's true. There's probably a reason why it's not
Yeah.
on the menu at all
Yeah.
the restaurants for
Let's wait
Smoked-
50 minutes for a burger.
yeah, smoked burger. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, but it's fun to try. It's definitely worth trying.
Yeah.
Well, if you got a smoker, you got to come up with more reasons to use it too. And
Yeah,
at least
that's fair.
ground beef is cheaper than than the ribs and the
Yeah.
brisket and the.
But yeah.
So yeah, okay. Well, and I guess along with burgers, and I mean, beef is what everybody thinks of when you say we're having burgers. Beef is the protein that everybody
Number
goes
one.
to. But as there's other protein options as well, and I'm a big fan of a chicken burger. I don't know. I call it a chicken burger when I make them at home from scratch and not just a chicken patty. I don't really know why, to be honest, but I guess you can buy ground chicken. But I've got a meat grinder, so I've been buying our chicken breast and thighs, and then I can adjust the mixture of thigh, which is a little more, fatty, or I don't know, it's not fatty. It's the dark meat, the light meat. The breast is drier, the thighs and breast are, everybody knows what I'm talking about, but
Skin on or skin off?
I just didn't skin off. But you could easily grind the skin into it.
That's where I've had my best luck.
Just
I
getting a little-
grind the skin in, and it's a binder. I
See-
do breast and thigh,
Okay.
about
Leave the skin
50-50.
on.
Leave the skin on the thigh,
Okay.
and that's a binder for it. And
Yeah.
then I don't use any binder.
Oh.
I just mash
That
it
would
in
make
patties.
sense because the issue with it falling apart is because there's no fat
Yeah.
to hold it together. So the
Yeah.
skin, I mean, skin's not fat, but it must
No,
have
it
something in
worked.
it that works. Because that's what most of the time when I make it, I'm making basically a chicken meatball
Right.
and
Smashing
then
it down.
smashing it into a patty.
Yep.
And I like to do it with grinding the meat
Mhm.
and doing it that way, but I've also done it using. I don't prefer it, but I've used canned chicken and done it using canned chicken too. But I'll put an egg in there. I mean, we're talking, like I said, a meatball. I'll do egg. I'll throw some panko or some breadcrumb in there.
Yep.
And but the nice thing about chicken, and what's always anything with chicken or tofu or whatever, it's going to taste like whatever you season it with.
Yeah.
So with a chicken burger, usually I like a anything spicy, but usually with a chicken patty, I'll do it like a buffalo sauce and a tomato and a lettuce and a cheddar cheese or a Colby or whatever. And but chicken's a great way to go, and then making that into a burger, it's just a different option, maybe a little more heart healthy than a beef patty every single time.
Yeah.
But there's also instead of what's that?
This is called Superbird.
Superbird
By Fire and Smoke. Not sponsored. But it is
not
the
sponsored
best.
by anything. So.
Yeah.
What's the
Corey's Basement.
So what's the what's in it that
I honestly
Like
couldn't tell you
garlic
right off the bat, but this is what I use for most of my chicken things that I do. Not smoking chicken, but for like my raw chicken things. If I need something for the girls, I'll put that on top because it's not too spicy, but it gives it a lot of flavor. Are you looking it up?
no?
Oh. Okay, never mind. But yeah, it's for a burger patty, look up Superbird. You can get it at Walmart.
Get it at a store near you.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
no, it
there's-
is perfect flavoring for a chicken patty because you can taste the flavor on top of all your other condiments that you end up putting on it. Or
Okay.
you don't. I mean, you
Right.
don't have
Or
to.
yeah.
So
Do you use that with just when you do chicken burgers, or do you use it with other stuff?
I'll use it on grilled chicken as well.
Okay.
Yeah,
But usually with chicken though.
Yeah.
Not with.
Yeah. I won't. I
Yeah.
haven't not tried it on a burger, but maybe.
That's what. Well, I was just curious because sometimes I'll use like lemon pepper.
Yep.
I like lemon pepper with chicken, and yeah, there's a lot of good seasoning blends, and I go back and forth on the pre-mixed seasonings.
Yeah.
I like to think that I want to make my own ratios, you know, but then you will give me a little bit like, oh, you got to try this, and I'll just put a little in my hand and go, oh man, I wouldn't have thought to put those things together, you know,
Right.
whatever. And
Me neither.
And, yeah, and I've
So-
got buddies of mine too. They'll go, oh, you got to try this, and I'm like, I mix my own seasonings, and I got all this stuff, and then it's like, oh crap, I should have. That's good, but
Sometimes you got to humble yourself to just buy.
just break down
Just
and
buy a seasoning.
pre-mixed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything that says McCormick, I'm like, I want to
Nope.
make my own. I don't want
Well,
to.
you don't want to buy the
Yeah,
name, not like name brands. You want to buy
Right.
like the mom and pop, like
Yeah.
Jolly Roger, the
Yeah.
black jalapeno, pepper, and garlic. That is my favorite.
pretty
I'll
good.
put that on just tomatoes, sliced
Okay.
tomatoes. Eat that.
yeah. Well, I really like the Tony Chachere's the Creole seasoning,
Yeah.
the Cajun blend or whatever, and then you also got me a Dano's
Yep.
Chipotle seasoning.
Yeah.
That's really good, and Chipotle goes good with chicken too.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so any yeah, it's just whatever flavor you're going for. If you want a cowboy burger, or if you're going to do a chicken burger,
Yep.
and you know you're going to be putting barbecue sauce, and maybe you're going to make onion rings and or whatever, put onion rings on top or whatever.
Yeah.
Then if I know that that's what I'm going to do with my chicken burger, then I might give it like a Chipotle seasoning
Yeah.
or give it more of a smoked flavor. Either add a little extra paprika or some chili powder or something in the
Something
mix.
to complement.
Yeah, to complement
Your
if
side.
you know what you're going to have.
Yeah.
Now, if like your kids are just going to put ketchup on it, then you're not going to be adding Chipotle seasoning and all that into the
Right.
patty itself. But
Right.
that's the beauty with the chicken, is that you can season it to
Yeah.
flavor it however you want. But
It's a blank canvas.
it's a blank canvas. Yeah, that's right. And that's, yeah, I guess that's a good thing. But I do like the panko. I like mixing a little panko in there.
Yeah.
Panko's really dry and crunchy. It gives it a good texture.
Mm-hmm.
And then sometimes I'll even take a breadcrumb or a panko, depending on how I'm going to cook it, and bread the outside and make it like a breaded chicken patty.
Yeah.
You just want to make sure you get the chicken cooked through. You know,
Yeah.
if you're cooking it with a breaded, sometimes the breading can be done, but you're not up to temperature, so then you really have to get your temperatures right. But
I think that you said something that you should kind of explain more to people listening is your canned chicken patties, because not everybody has a grinder. Not
Right.
everybody wants to buy
Yeah.
ground chicken.
Yeah, and you can buy ground chicken at most
Yeah.
grocery stores. You can buy it ground, but it's more expensive when you buy it ground because they had to process it more. And so, yeah, the cans of chicken, I'm talking that come in like a
ounce.
tuna fish can. Yeah, usually they're
bigger.
12 ounces or whatever. But just and that's kind of pre-cooked. So,
Yeah.
because it's canned, and so it's already cooked, and that's a good one. What I've found with that is, like to your point of putting the skin in, mixing it in when you grind it yourself. With a canned chicken, it's very loose.
Yeah.
And you want to dry it out of whatever liquid. I don't know if they all come in just water. I don't know if it's like tuna fish where you can get an oil or water. I think it's just water.
Yeah.
You want to drain it really well, and I'll put it on a paper towel and dry it out as much as possible, especially if I'm making a burger out of it, because it just wants to fall apart. So you need a binder. So that's where it'll really turn into a meatball thing. Now the good thing about canned chicken is because it's so soft and it's been soaking in that liquid when it got canned, it's incredibly tender to the point where you can just bite straight through it. And if you bite into a chicken burger patty that's made with canned chicken, you can take a bite and almost pull it away, and it's going to have the shape of your teeth almost, because you're easily just bite through everything. Whereas shredded chicken or something, you might pull it, whatever.
Yeah.
But canned chicken's a great option, and it's pre-cooked, so you don't have to worry about temperature if you're making something thicker. But you're definitely going to need I'll add like one egg and then an extra yolk just to really thicken it up, and then you got breadcrumbs and a little parsley, or I always like to throw herb in there too with whatever seasoning. But like I said, you're making a giant round flat meatball is what you're making with that. But I think anything you're making from scratch is going to be a better option, because there's a difference in flavor. It just tastes better than if you were. Like, I bought chicken patties, like breaded chicken patties from whatever frozen section you go to.
Yep.
You get a breaded chicken patty, and some of them, for what I want to spend, they just taste cheap, and you're like, oh yeah, this is food, but it's not good food. Yeah, with chicken, and then and then you need I need a lot of buffalo sauce. I need ranch. I need pickles. I need all this stuff to kind of hide the fact that I'm eating garbage frozen chicken manufactured stuff that really doesn't have much flavor. So I love a meatball, but if you're making from scratch, and it really doesn't, it's not difficult to make. This is not something that's something that requires a lot of effort. And honestly, if you got kids, you get them involved. They have fun taking their hands and smashing the meat or the chicken together with an egg. Ew, gross, and it's cold and whatever. But also, if you use canned chicken, even if you're making it using canned chicken, that's still a better option than buying frozen processed chicken patties that are breaded and freeze dried and shipped off, and they taste better. But the canned chicken is shelf stable. Obviously, it's canned, so you can buy 10 cans of chicken or buy them in bulk at Costco or Sam's Club or whatever, or anywhere, and have them in there. And it's always a good thing to have. It's one of those things, and I know you and your wife used to do stuff too, where it's, let's look in the pantry. What can we make out of what we've got? And if you just like, we always, we've got canned chicken. We can, and with that, other than chicken patty, meatball, what type of things, you can make chicken salad. You can make
buffalo chicken dip.
Buffalo chicken dip, like you had talked about before, for lunch or just a snack or whatever. Yep. So just having something like that, and that's when you're looking at recipes on Pinterest or wherever you're looking for a recipe. It's versatile. Yeah, it's just having something and being able to look in your in your pantry. And I always got eggs, and same with a can of breadcrumb, like a little, some breadcrumbs come in a bag, panko or whatever in a box. But I always have panko in the pantry because I can use it for. This is just one application where.
Yeah.
And what sounds good? Chicken. Well, we got canned chicken. I got panko. There's egg in the fridge. I got seasonings and herbs and stuff in the pantry. So why don't we try chicken patties? And it doesn't have to be on this great bun. It can be on the bread, or it could just be on its own.
But the same thing is you could make a miniature version of that, throw it in your oven or air fryer, chicken nuggets.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah.
I mean, kids will love it.
Yep.
So,
and you can feel good about now. I don't know. I don't have a can of chicken in front of me here to say
high protein.
It's high protein, but I don't know. Like if something's canned, you're not using this. I shouldn't say artificial preservative isn't the right word because it's a preservative, but
it's preserved.
But
somehow.
the heat and this seals it in and whatever. It's not. And same with freezing something. I guess the freezing process kind of preserves it, but yeah, it's just canned chicken might not be a greatest thing to be arguing this point on.
Right.
But
Get your canned chicken.
Yeah, go buy it now. But the principle is there. Same with tuna fish, whatever. It's a good protein, and it's going to be
source.
something that can be there. And you might not use a can of chicken or a can of tuna fish for 2 months.
Yep.
But month 3, you need something to eat for dinner. Let's try making chicken patties. Anyway, we're talking about burgers here.
Yep.
So that was a bit of a tangent. But chicken burgers, we're talking general burger shape, I guess. And some of the other proteins that I've used, and I know you've used too. So when we grew up, or as we were growing up, one of the things that we'd have quite often, or whatever, seems quite often, but was brat burgers.
It was quite often,
yeah, brat burgers. Yeah. We didn't really have. I don't really, honestly, remember having brats in their natural.
No, it was always brat burgers,
not their natural banana-shaped form. We always, and that was before. Now, of course, because everybody's lazy, you can just buy brats
burgers
in pre-made burger patties. When we had them, and the way I still do it now, I don't like people touching my stuff, and I'm sure nobody actually touches when they make brat burger patties that you buy from the store, but I still prefer to cut open the casing myself, form them into a patty, and make brat burgers. And really, they cook at a better. That's the worst thing about brats, and I love brats, but you bite into that casing and you get a hot squirt of juice in your eyeball, and then but and they take forever to cook, With a brat burger, it takes the same amount as like a hamburger, and but all you do is cut the casing open,
off,
form it into a patty, boom, you've got a brat burger.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't know if Mom and Dad did that just because maybe it seemed like we were eating more because we were having a full burger instead of a measly hot dog.
I don't know either.
I don't remember, just like you said, having
a single brat. Like, somebody will have to fact check that for us. I don't. But we make those a lot, and actually, the other protein that we'll talk about too is like venison, somewhat interchangeable with beef, but not quite. But I attempted to make venison brats. And the cheese that I had mixed in with I think I did like a Philly cheesesteak seasoning with my venison, and a little bit of pork in with my venison too, to just give it a little extra fat to bind as a binder almost, and
give it
flavor
fat while it's cooking.
Yeah, but I tried to make venison brats, and I didn't have an actual like sausage stuffer. I used my meat grinder. Well, that cheese got all whatever. I ended up with a whole bunch of Philly cheesesteak venison brat burger meat because it didn't go into the casing and whatever. But that brings us into venison too.
Yep. So
I know we both hunt. You've got a lot more venison than me, but
it's not a competition.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But so venison, that's a leaner meat.
Yep.
Deer meat does not have as much fat.
Yep.
And the same thing if you go into like bear or
Yeah.
really any wild game.
Yeah.
Elk, moose, or
I've made
never
bear
had moose.
burgers.
I've had bear burgers.
They're give or take.
Yeah,
I mean,
the ones
it's,
I
it's
had
not
were really,
beef.
Yeah, the ones. Yeah, exactly. And that's kind of the benchmark that we place is it's good. It's not beef.
Yeah.
I had bear burgers 3 weeks ago up at deer camp when we were up there at beginning of October, and they were really good.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he had mixed some. I don't know. I don't know what he mixed in it. I didn't ask him. I should have. I couldn't have been just straight up bear.
No.
Because
It
that's
can't
good.
be.
And there's people hearing this right now that if they looked in the mirror, their eyes would be scrunched and their face would be like, oh, geez,
Yeah.
bear and deer and elk and moose. But I mean, you want to talk about a good protein that has had no interference with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah. Deer.
And it's a clean, honestly, the most humane way to harvest an animal because our cows, our chickens, they come from somewhere, and that's always, to me, I know people argue against hunting and you just want to kill an animal, and it's well,
Yeah. For
somebody's
food.
killing that animal.
Yeah.
If you're eating meat, somebody's killing that animal.
Yeah.
And a deer that is having a good time tromping through the woods until the moment it dies is a lot better off than a cow that you buy from the grocery store.
Yeah.
That's been living a miserable life.
Oh, yeah. Just getting fat.
Just getting fat so they can sell it for a premium. But anyway, that's a different conversation. But venison,
I don't think that's going to be on a cook
that's
better.
not what we're going for. But venison, so if I do venison, when I process my own deer, when I make ground venison, I like to add some pork.
Yep.
I'll just buy like a pork butt or something and grind
Cheapest
it in.
pork you can find. It's got to be just fat.
And sometimes you can just get straight up pork fat,
Yeah.
not even need the meat, just to mix in from either a butcher or if you know somebody that if you know a farmer, somebody that raises pigs and sells them, a lot of time you can find it, or just buy it from pork butts cheap.
Yep.
And you don't need a lot, just a little bit.
Nope.
And venison too, I've had deer that you wouldn't know the difference between beef, and I've had deer that need a little bit of help because it's got a little gamey flavor.
Yeah.
And I've tried the different, we mentioned earlier this episode, soaking them in milk. There's people that swear by that. That does help. I've had somebody, I've also tried soaking it in Coca-Cola.
Mayonnaise.
Or mayonnaise, okay.
Well, it works for
egg and
chicken,
oil
so it might. It's
Maybe.
chicken's lean, so
Right.
it might work for venison.
to mix it together and make a burger.
Yeah.
But it's a different flavor a little bit, and it's very similar to beef, but it's definitely more lean. It's got just a slight different flavor. Again, if you're putting barbecue sauce or you're putting ketchup or you're putting mustard and cheese and all that, it's going to be. And the part of me, reason I like venison, especially if it's from a deer that I harvested, is this was humanely harvested. This is a wild animal and that's the part of it that I really too. Yeah, the flavor is a little bit different, but it's still good.
Yeah. Good
And
natural meat.
Yeah, it's not been fed antibiotics and whatever hormone, all that crap.
Yeah.
So that's the part that I go, okay, maybe I'm not used to the flavor, but when I've gotten deer, the year I got a couple good deer, I didn't buy beef for almost a full year because I was eating venison. And then at first you're like, oh, this tastes different. Well, then a year later when I ran out of venison because I didn't get another deer and I switched back to beef, the first time I cooked beef, I'm like, oh, this smells weird.
Yeah.
And so it's all just a matter of what you're used to. And there is a difference between beef and venison, but
there is, but
venison is a good meat.
It's great.
And then we'll just briefly touch slightly because we're
Very
talking about
briefly.
proteins. We're talking about maybe there's the vegetarian option, and I'm not talking about a vegetarian option like an impossible burger or something like that that's got so many chemical compounds in it and just junk.
Yeah.
We're just talking, and I know
bean burger.
Yeah, like black bean burger. You've made those
Yep.
before. Your wife likes those.
Yeah, my wife really likes bean burgers. So I've made my own. I cannot tell you exactly what they're made out of until I
Try
look
to
at-
do it again.
yeah look at Pinterest and try to like mash things together.
Yeah.
But they do need like seasoning like crazy,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
otherwise they just taste like beans.
Yeah.
If you do like the natural beans and you
Right.
don't buy the the store bought ones,
Right.
But yeah.
Well, and that's, I think, and I've
Sorry.
mentioned it before, like a vegetarian option. There is nothing wrong with going with.
No.
I'm not one of those people that are like, oh, you got to eat meat. Quit. Vegetarian's bad. I think it's great if
Yeah.
somebody,
If you
somebody
can do it.
yeah, if somebody can have the willpower to do the vegetarian option.
yeah,
That's great. What I don't like is some of the vegan vegetarian options that are just as bad as the back of a package for whatever that's got 100 different ingredients on it, none of which are actually natural. So if you're making yourself a black bean burger,
make it yourself.
make it yourself and you might need a binder of some kind if you're going like vegan, then you're not putting the egg in it.
No,
Even though eggs don't harm the chicken, but I get it. If somebody's trying to,
Die Hard.
yeah. So
Yeah,
I don't know, but there's you just search and you can find like 4-ingredient black bean burger or whatever.
yeah, yeah. If you just want like the consistency of a burger, but don't want the meat, I mean, there's
Right.
options, but
Right. Well, and if you're somebody who's doing the vegetarian route and everybody else is having burgers
Yeah.
for the cookout,
yeah, you gotta. Have
you don't want to be
something.
like, no, I'll just eat my celery. So yeah, it's just sorry, I'm looking up the ingredients for an Impossible Burger because
Oh, from
'cause-
Burger King, or
Well,
just any.
I think you can
Basically.
get them anywhere
Because
now.
we've gotten some from Costco that are really good, organic, supposedly, and they are. I've actually had one. They're tasty.
Okay,
But
so yeah, it just
there's more ingredients
Like
than
use
in-
natural ingredients if you're making a vegetarian or vegan
Yeah.
option because you can use vegetables and it's still vegan. But
Right.
like so I just did a quick. Of course, AI is helping me out right now.
Nice.
AI overview, stupid AI, but. In an Impossible Burger is made from a variety of ingredients, including heme, H-E-M-E, a heme?
It's a Hemi.
Hemi. It's a Hemi. That thing got a Hemi? Which is an iron-containing compound found in the root nodules of soybeans that gives a burger its meaty flavor and makes it bleed when cooked. That sounds gross, but plant proteins, we got wheat, potato, and soy protein concentrate, coconut and sunflower oil, binders. See, this is the part that I don't like, and I've mentioned it before, and will continually mention it. My issue with shredded cheese, pre-shredded cheese, is the cellulose that's in there
Yeah,
that keeps it
keep
from
it.
sticking
Yep.
together. And that, so anyway, a binder in an Impossible Burger is methyl cellulose, which is a plant-derived food binder that helps shape the burger. Cellulose tells me a wood fiber or a
Yeah.
pulp. We're in the construction industry, and there's cellulose insulation, there's cellulose and all that.
Yeah.
It may be a plant-derived food binder, but if it's cellulose,
Stay
and
away.
I could be wrong, don't sue me over this, but that sounds like wood. And then the other ingredients are water, yeast extract, cultured dextrose, food-modified starch, salt mixed. I can't pronounce that word. Soy protein isolate, zinc gluconate, thymine hydrochloride, and niacin. So
Sexy.
I like venison. That's
Yes.
straight up deer. That's
Yes,
the one
deer
ingredient.
meat.
If you look up a venison burger, what's in it? Deer. So anyway, that's just a tangent, but we've got more to cover.
Yeah.
But we're kind of beyond our time here, so we're going to call it. This is going to be part 1 of the burger episode, and we will do part 2 next time. So feel free to comment.
Yep.
Send us an email. It is thecookbetterpodcast@gmail.com, and let us know what you think.
Yeah.
I think we've covered a lot here, but we're going to continue talking and go on to part 2. Thanks for listening. Hopefully something that we talked about here will help you cook just a little bit better.
Thank you.